Hey guys, Connor Kokona here. The original Iron Man movie, like that little, indie film piece made by Marvel Studios that kind of created the largest movie franchise in the world. Yeah, that little one. It's my favorite movie of all time. Notably, what I love about Iron Man, the original one from 2008, has nothing to do with the MCU whatsoever. In fact, I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has adopt many of the tropes of the first Iron Man movie and turn them into tropes that have not aged well. Um, but the main thing that's been making me think about this lately is the release of Marvel Rivals. And with the release of Marvel Rivals, I quickly found that Iron Man is absolutely my favorite character to play in that. I fucking love seeing the Jarvis memes on fucking Twitter or whatever X, whatever the kids are calling it now, that X platform. I love seeing those so much. And I rewatched the original Iron Man recently and relived the glory of it. And then, I remembered something. I was like, I love Iron Man. I love Iron Man right now. I'm such a big Iron Man fan right now. What more can I watch about Iron Man besides, having to go watch fucking Iron Man 2? Because I think I'd rather be chemically castrated before I even watch that movie again. And, what other Iron Man media is there? Now the real question is, why the fuck am I asking that question? Because you already know the answer to it, because the fucking title would say that. I just needed a transition. So go fuck yourself for thinking that, alright? Yeah, it's the fucking Iron Man anime, okay? Yeah, I know. It's right there. It says it on the fucking... You read the title. It's the Iron Man anime. That's what we're here for. Made in 2010 by Studio Madhouse. The same guys that made Death Note 6 years later. And they came around and they made this movie. And while I absolutely love the original live-action Iron Man movie, I gotta wonder, am I gonna like this one as much? No, not even close, man. So I watched the entire series in the course of 2 days. It's 12 episodes. It's not much. It used to be on Netflix. I have no clue where you can actually watch it now if you have any interest in watching this. But they'll point to this video so that you don't have to watch it, because I don't think you should, to be honest. I don't think it's worth your time. But the movie and the show do have some similarities. The original Iron Man, he kind of has that same origin story of building his suit with Yensen in the cave after being captured by terrorists. How he got captured a little bit different. But there's gonna be some differences from the movie. I do also just want to warn you, spoilers for the show. I don't recommend you watch that, honestly. I don't think it's worth your time. But if for any reason you don't want to watch it and you don't want spoilers, you gotta stop watching, guys. I'm sorry. Click off the video. I know it breaks your heart, it breaks my heart, but if you don't want spoilers, you gotta click off. But anyways, the main thing I have to say about the show is it's incredibly unremarkable. Like, I just finished watching this shit, and I don't remember most of the plot, especially the early episodes. The early episodes felt like just a whole bunch of fucking nothing. Like, they had nothing to say, and they just kept acting like they did the whole time. I mean, there's just shit going on. We get introduced to some things, but it's just so unremarkable. The characters there's way too many characters, frankly. In this, I love that the original Iron Man movie really had 3 characters overall. It was mostly Pepper Potts, Tony Stark, and Obadiah Stane. Rhodey was there, I guess, and you had Yensen in the cave, but he was only in the first act of the movie. So there really weren't that many characters, and I think that's what made the original Iron Man so good. This show did not listen to that. They were like, what, fuck it, let's just start coming up with characters. Let's just throw them in. You got fucking Tony Stark, obviously. But you got some fucking Japanese scientist girl he's into. Some fucking, reporter and her whole posse of fuckers. The Japanese government and people within. There's too many people that are actually, noteworthy for the plot, and it's really convoluted. The plot is so convoluted, man. It doesn't really make much sense. And I think it especially doesn't make much sense because a lot of the points, you just kind of forget about them. You watch them happen, and they just, oh, okay, sure, I guess, man, whatever. But that's not neat at all. Thanks for telling me fucking nothing interesting, man. It's so wild. I also thought it was kind of interesting they waited until episode 4 to do the origin for Tony Stark. They finally show Yensen in the cave. And, speaking of Yensen, what the fuck, man? What are you doing? He's a fucking twist villain in this movie. Or in the show. He's a fucking twist villain, dog. What are are you doing? What do you mean, Yensen? And like, understand, Yensen serves the same purpose. Like, he's the man that inspired Tony Stark to stop making weapons, and Tony Stark then goes on to create the Iron Man suit to try and do good in the world and, you know, end Stark Corp from making any weapons. But in this story, he's in a fucking terrorist organization. He is a fucking terrorist. You know, he was captured by terrorists, lived there, lost his family to terrorists, and then after that, when he leaves, in this story, he got like a new family, and he lost them as well to either the U.S. military or terrorists. I'm really not too sure. But then after that, he goes and becomes a terrorist. What? It doesn't make sense. They're not, like, the characters don't make sense in this show. They just don't. You don't really get anything. Like, and understand, he becomes a terrorist after Tony Stark has already become Iron Man. So Tony Stark believes Yensen is dead, but no, he's alive and he's become Iron Man and he's doing good. And Yensen's like, yeah, but you still, like, you let my second family die, so not good enough. So I'm gonna be a terrorist now. By the way, man. What is that leap in logic? Like, I don't. But my family gets fucking killed in, like, some, you know, U.S. military action gone wrong. My first thought isn't gonna be like, man, I gotta go grab a rifle and try and kill the Japanese government. Like, what? Because yeah, this whole thing's in Japan. It just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. Like, and on top of that, Yensen fucking fights him in an Iron Man suit. Why is Yensen in an Iron Man suit, dog? Get him out. It's so fucking stupid. Like, in episode 9, Yensen and Iron Man fight in this Iron Man suit, and it's supposed to be like this, like, intense battle or like showdown of ideas where, like, Yensen's like, yeah, you know, to do good in the world, you know, you gotta, might makes right, and Tony Stark's now like, you know, like, no, you gotta, like, inspire the people and do good, you know, you can't harm them. And then, like, Tony Stark loses, gets tossed off a fucking cliff without his Iron Man suit. Okay. Which, he lives, by the way. Because, you know, we need him to live. We need Tony Stark alive to live. You don't get it, man. It don't gotta make sense. He's got some plot armor. Sure, you know, he's smart. I don't know how, like, it was literally a 100-foot drop. It's whatever, though. Whatever. Let's just, like, move on past that one, because we don't ask questions around here. But, like, why didn't Yensen just fucking shoot him? I should mention that as well. He lived. By no means should he have lived. But, like, why didn't Yensen just, like, take out that non-zero chance, you know, and just fucking, like, shoot him with a repulse blaster, which, like, he's shown he has, and just, he's just gonna fucking choke, like, so many ways he could have just killed Tony, but he had to throw him off a cliff for some fucking reason. But then later, you know, Yensen and Tony go at it again, and Yensen fucking dies. And after dying, and, like, he's dying trying to kill Tony Stark, but they were gonna, like, take out Tony Stark as part of the organization. Now that he's, like, dying, he's like, Tony, my bro, you gotta take out the terrorist organization. Like, were you not just fighting for the terrorist organization, like, until your dying breaths? And now you're like, go take them out for me, man. They're bad. Like, why not, you know, earlier in the fight, couldn't you have just been like, whoa, wait, Tony, maybe these terrorist guys ain't cool. Like, we gotta, like, take them out together. No, you wait until you're dying, and now that you're dying, and after you tried to fucking kill this guy, you're like, yeah, can you take care of that for me, man? They're not very good. I think we gotta take them out. So fucking stupid. And this is like an episode 9. So there's still 3 more episodes after this. Shouldn't have been, by the way. Should not have been 3 more episodes. We didn't need 3 more episodes. Fuck, we didn't even need, like, frankly, you could have probably just ended that shit there and been like, you know what, this wasn't very good. Let's call it here, guys. But no, you had to go and do it. After that, like, Tony Stark is branded as a terrorist, and the government takes him in, and then the entire fucking Japanese diet gets fucking bombed. And every single member of the diet dies, except for the one government guy that we've seen, who's actually a part of the fucking terrorist organization, dog. And he gets in an Iron Man suit, and then they have this other Japanese guy in an Iron Man suit, And it's just like, where are all these suits coming from? Like, is Tony Stark being Iron Man even special at this point? Everyone has an Iron Man suit. Like, at least in the MCU, like, only fucking War Machine got an Iron Man suit. He didn't just go like, yeah, I'm gonna give everyone Iron Man suits. No, he's like, oh yeah, let me like be Iron Man. That's what my whole thing. I don't make weapons anymore. I don't make weapons. What's the point of like stopping the weapons production if you're just gonna sell people an Iron Man suit, which is debatably way more impactful than a single missile? Like, it's so, oh man, come on, it didn't even make sense. Everyone has an Iron Man suit though, and to top it all off, at the end, you find out there's been like this whole mind control subplot throughout the fucking thing where you see people like their eyes turn red and suddenly they start working for the terrorist organization. Like, oh, they can mind control people. You find out like the main scientist woman that's worked with Tony Stark the entire fucking show, that's also his love interest, was actually being controlled this whole time and like gave like them access to the whole fucking. Oh my god, it was so dumb. And then she just fucking dies, and it's like. Oh my god, it's so stupid, dog. It's so contrived. It's so fucking stupid. It doesn't make sense. Nothing in the show makes sense. What you remember is all of the worst, and anything that's remotely decent is so unremarkable that you forget about it within the next 3 minutes. It's insane. I would literally finish episodes and be like, damn, what did I just watch? Like, I couldn't tell you. Like, if there was a test at the end of the episodes, I'd be failing it every time. I mean, I'm picking B, C, D. It's all A. It's A every question. I mean, it's so fucking. They're so boring. It's so uninteresting. That's why I really say you shouldn't watch it. It's not worth your time. Um, for some positives, I guess, maybe there's something redeeming. Some positives are. There was in episode 3 a moment where Tony Stark jumped into a dangerous river to save people despite not having his Iron Man suit on. But it's also like, I like that he was like heroic in that moment, but it's also like, okay, but what's the context really? Like, why are we here? It didn't really make sense in the show. Like, there was a bus that he saved as an Iron Man suit, and then rather like fully saving it, he like just let it sit there for a little bit longer, and then it was so dumb to even get there. I just like that he was heroic. I also thought that the villain group in this show was called Zodiac, and they had different robots that were after this Zodiac signs, and like they were designed around them. So they had like a Scorpio that was a scorpion. Some of the, I think like the one that was a bull, I think it's like Sagittarius was a bull or something. I'm not into that shit. Listen, I dated a girl that was into it once. Worst woman I ever met in my life, so I think I'm gonna avoid that shit for forever from now on. So forgive me for my ignorance on that one. All right, guys. But I mean, that's it. I guess it looked good for a 2010 anime. Does it look good now? Not really, but for 2010, it was serviceable. I certainly, if I saw this in 2010, I think, wow, I'm not disappointed. That's really it, guys, for positives. The show is ass. Like, do not watch it. Don't watch it.